So Eagles pass on Dean, draft Juergens in the second round. Right around that time, Shams Charania puts out a tweet saying that Joel Embiid has a concussion and an orbital bone fracture. He's out indefinitely. I immediately blame Howie Roseman for ruining all the good sports juju that was put out in Philadelphia over the previous 24 hours by passing on to Kobe Dean. But in all seriousness, I'm well aware that the Toronto Raptors fan base cheered when Joel Embiid got injured. I'm well aware that the broadcast for the Toronto Raptors up there in Canada put out the vibe of, Joel Embiid gets what he deserves because he did that airplane. Those are scumbag things. And if we did that, it'd be played all over the planet. We all know the deal there. But instead of letting that own free real estate in my mind, I'm going to concentrate on what this means for the Sixers. The fact that so quickly after now, as I'm reading the report, I'm thinking to myself, Joel Embiid's going to try to play in this series. That out indefinitely thing, I don't think applies to Joel Embiid. And it's totally different because it was a hand injury and he couldn't make it any worse with the ligament damage in his thumb. And he played so great a 30-point game in Game 6. You're going to have to do a lot to keep Joel Embiid off the floor, including break his face. And that apparently is only going to get him 2 games. Because all he needs to do, and I say all he needs to do, but all he needs to do when you talk about a bone fracture, it's not like he's going to put pixie dust on his face and all of a sudden he's going to be fine. But Joel Embiid's going to go out there, play with that fractured face, and just beat concussion protocol. He's just going to get through concussion protocol, and then he's going to be back out there on the floor with torn ligaments in his thumb and a broken face and fresh off concussion protocol. Yeah, I'll take that guy on my team. I'll take that guy. And I got to be honest, Doc Rivers said in his answer as to why Joel Embiid up 119-90, why Joel Embiid was still in the game. I was experiencing the same thing Doc was experiencing at the end of that game against the Raptors in Game 6, where the minute I saw him do the airplane, I was like, all right, time, let's get him out of there. That's enough. 4 minutes, that's enough. And Doc Rivers, here, I'll let you hear him because he was pressed on it by our old friend Howard Eskin about why Joel Embiid was still in the game, despite being up nearly 30 points at that point in time with 4 minutes left. This is how Doc Rivers, everyone's favorite, Doc Rivers answered the question regarding Joel Embiid still being in the game at that point.
Well, it wasn't 4 minutes left and 29 points. 21. He scored the bucket to make it 29. And in the playoffs, just so everyone knows, so we cannot talk about blame and talk about winning this next series. I'm about to answer that, all right? Because everyone was in. You know, the other team had all their guys in too. The last 5 minutes of the game, we made the run the last minute of that game. Right before that, that's when we got up 29. After Joel made the shot and did the airplane, if you watch the game, I turned and said, I'm calling a timeout on the next possession. So, not upset that he was in. You can make that a big deal if you want. But just go and look at every team in every game, and their guys are in until about the 4th 3-minute mark. That's what it is.
That's their last game.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're in.
I've done this a long time. Just go back and look at every game's last game, and I guarantee you both teams have their guys in at that point. We had just made the run to put it up to 29.
Do you ever say to yourself,
yeah, all the time. On plays. I drew up the greatest play in the world, and the guy misses the shot. And I said, darn it, I wish I had someone else shoot that. Unfortunately, in coaching, you can't wait 24 hours to make a decision.
No, you can't, unfortunately. I was right there with Doc Rivers towards the end of that game. I was thinking the exact same thing that Doc Rivers was thinking. This is starting to get out of hand. There's no way they're coming back from 29 with 4 minutes left. Joel Embiid has already hit his groove, obviously. There's no reason for him to be in. Let's get him out. Like, I was around those, like, you still want to close it out, right, with your starters on the floor and all that. but it was a blowout. And I'm not one that ever really fears injury. And I know Joel Embiid has his injuries and he's got his injury history, but I don't live in fear of injury. And I don't think most athletes live in fear of injury. But it was around that exact time. The minute I saw him hit the airplane, the minute I saw him start to go running down the runway with his arms out, I went, all right, now's the time to get out. And then, boom, you saw it right there. That's when he got an elbow to the face by Pascal Siakam. And that's when his face got broken. And that's what he said after the game to the who was it for TNT, I think? I think he broke my face. And he's like, I'm serious, but it's all good. It's the playoffs. Good for you. And here we are. He did break his face. He gave him a concussion.